Most of our lives are spent trying to exchange our thoughts and feelings with the people around us. The art of communicating is an essential part of being human. We managed to change our thoughts into primitive speech and symbols which others could understand. The symbols evolved into writing, and writing could be sent by runners and ships between widely separated cultures. We had started the exchange of ideas and information slowly. The exchange moved rapidly when the printing press allowed us to duplicate what we wrote. We learned to make images of what we saw. We kept on refining our ability to communicate. We learned to do it faster. We learned to speak to one another over great distances. We could preserve our ideas with sound recordings and with motion pictures. Information communicated by means of our new tools became an intimate part of our lives. The tools we use to keep in touch with one another have become widespread. We continue to extend and simplify the exchange of ideas and information. The most versatile of our new tools, the computer, has become an important communications device to handle vast amounts of information for people all over the world. Computers help us keep in touch with complex, changing information and events. The computer can store information, organize it at our request, and return the information instantly in a form we can use. Hospitals can use the computer for immediate access to diagnostic test data about their patients.
Blood type A, RH negative.
Students can be kept up to date about career requirements and opportunities. Computers give police officers rapid access to information about stolen property. Computers help engineers and designers visualize their ideas more effectively. The computer can translate signals from a satellite into photographs that give information about land resources. The computer has become one of the important tools in the exchange of ideas and information. It extends what has always been one of our basic accomplishments, the ability to communicate.
After 11 years of fighting about it, Los Angeles will now fluoridate its drinking water. Mr. Brown, Mr. Flournoy have some words about each other. Mr. Brown picks up an endorsement. Creighton Abrams is dead. President Ford shakes up the diplomatic corps, and a little later on tonight, it's Happy Birthday, Los Angeles. The news is coming up next.
Now comes Miller time. You're soaked, sore, and smiling from ear to ear. And just over the finish line, somebody's waiting with the best tasting beer you can find. Miller High Life, America's quality beer since 1855.
If you've got the time, we've got the beer.
More coffee, John.
Oh, he never has seconds.
Someone say more coffee?
John never wanted a second cup at home. And I made good coffee, too. But that night I realized, for coffee to be worth a second cup, it has to be great coffee. U-Ban.
U-Ban blends some of the world's richest beans, like sun-ripened Colombians, for a deep, deliciously rich cup of coffee.
Did I hear someone say more coffee?
U-Ban, with richness worth a second cup.
Hot weather got you? Do like we do. Get Colonel Sanders' Summer Picnic Value Pack. Feeds a family of 5 for only $5.55. And that's no snow job.
This is Channel 4, KNBC, Los Angeles.
Good evening, everybody. An 11-year-old legislative battle that has stirred deep emotions among the people of Los Angeles is all but over tonight. It appears as if the city is going to fluoridate its drinking water. 3 times before, the idea has been rejected, but today a fluoridation plan got tentative approval from the L.A. City Council. The debate, as expected, was very heated.
If I would take my choice, I would give every poor child in this, or every child for as that matters, in this great community a good balanced diet and let him drink the ordinary water, and he'd be in perfect health.
I am here this morning to plead for you to give the children of Los Angeles County, the children of the city of Los Angeles specifically, the same break that children get in other major cities in the United States.
Here is a statement: airborne fluorides have caused more worldwide damage to domestic animals than any other air pollutant.
The need for fluoridation is very clear, and it's the safety is also very clear. Neither of these points seem to me to be debatable issues at all.
The debate lasted 3 hours. The vote, when the whole thing was over, 10-4 in favor of fluoridation. There'll be a final vote next week, but Mayor Bradley has already said he will sign the ordinance when it becomes law.
This is the KNBC News Service with Paul Moyer. Ross Porter along later with film highlights from tonight's action at Dodger Stadium. And Kelly Lang with the weather for Southern California. Now here again, Paul Moyer.
Edmund Brown Jr. and Houston Flournoy, both candidates for governor here in California, were highly visible today, and so was another well-known California politician. Jerry Brown won support from not totally unexpected quarters, although it may seem a little surprising to see Brown on the same platform with his harshest critic during the recent primary, Bob Moretti, who lost to Brown. And Moretti lost no time today in making light of that situation.
I had thought.
I want to say, in the whole 4 years we were up there, I don't think we spoke more than 45 minutes in the whole 4 years, so there wasn't...
There's something I've been meaning to do.
Well, Moretti said he would be delighted to land a major job with the Edmund G. Brown Jr. administration here in California. The former Speaker of the Assembly isn't employed yet, and of course Brown isn't elected yet, although he's leading in most opinion polls. Both men said there's been no commitment made on either side about any appointment. For his part, Hugh Flournoy flew to the tiny town of Flournoy in Northern California. The place was named for some distant relatives some time ago. It's not much of a town, really just a post office, but candidate Flournoy's appearance in the town of Flournoy was a big event today and drew a crowd by local standards. Flournoy, the candidate, confirmed that he'll take 2 days off from campaigning this month to visit financial backers of Nelson Rockefeller in New York. He said the trip has been planned for a long, long time and is not a sign of any financial emergency in his campaign. At a picnic today, following his speech in Flournoy, the Republican nominee defended the move to bring in out-of-state money to his campaign, and he accused his opponent, Jerry Brown, of seeking out-of-state funds also. The grand old party, the Republican Party, has a new chairman-designate tonight. George Bush is going to pay King to head the United States delegation to the People's Republic of China. And a woman, Mrs. Mary Louise Smith, has been nominated to succeed Bush as the party's co-chairman.
My background is organizational politics, and I think that the main thrust of my administration, if elected to become chairman of the National Committee, will be on party building, it'll be on organization, and it'll be on electing candidates in '74, and looking forward then to 1976.
Well, there was other movement in official Washington today. We'll have that part of the story as we continue.
This commercial is about your children and insecticides. Introducing a major advance in aerosol spray cans. Shell insecticides with the child protector top. I can spray it, but children up to 4 years old can't because their fingers are too short. The new child protector top on these proven bug killers. Effective, you know it. They're from Shell. The only aerosol insecticides with the child protector top.
There's not much difference in pain relievers that you can see, but in your bloodstream the differences are very real. While all three leading pain relievers reach an effective level in minutes, in the final analysis only one of them hits and holds the highest level, Anacin. This difference is the extra pain reliever Anacin provides when you have a headache. Remember, the difference in Anacin is the higher level of pain reliever, and Anacin relieves pain fast.
Most tourists come here by public transportation that conserves energy and creates jobs we need. So invite your friends and relatives to Southern California.
Former Kentucky Senator John Cooper was nominated by President Ford today to become this nation's first ambassador to East Germany. The announcement following a 3-minute ceremony at the State Department designed to erase 29 years of Cold War animosity between the United States and Communist East Germany. The status of Berlin was not changed by the agreement, but the low-key event signaled this country's abandonment of hopes for a united Germany. First negotiations will deal with reparations for American industries nationalized by the communist regime. In yet another White House shift, General Alexander Haig, the White House Chief of Staff during the final months of the Nixon administration, may be named to command all the NATO forces in Europe. If President Ford said yes, Haig will return to active duty as a 4-star general. After all that official activity, the President and his lady went to the theater tonight, a theater in Washington, D.C. The report on that part of the President's Day now from NBC correspondent Ron Nessen.
President and Mrs. Ford received an enthusiastic welcome tonight when they went to the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts in Washington. The occasion was a reception celebrating the 10th anniversary of the National Council on the Arts. The president said he has been converted to an interest in the arts by his wife, a former Martha Graham dancer.
So I am a converted individual. And I don't apologize for it. And converts oftentimes are known as more ardent advocates than those who were brought up in an environment or in a religion.
The Fords and singer Marian Anderson then headed for the presidential box to watch a performance of Mac and Mabel, a musical about Mac Sennett and Mabel Normand of the silent movies. The Fords said they liked it. Ron Nessen, NBC News, Washington.
Creighton Abrams, war hero, Army Chief of Staff, will be buried Friday at Arlington National Cemetery. He died today of complications from lung surgery performed 12 weeks ago. General Abrams was a hero. Battle of the Bulge in World War II. He commanded U.S. forces in South Vietnam from 1968 to 1972. Creighton Abrams, 60 years old. The administration continues to struggle with the problems of amnesty for the men who evaded duty in Vietnam, an almost certain condition as some sort of alternative service, much like a program here in California that's been going on for years, a program in California designed for conscientious objectors.
This would seem to be an unlikely home for conscientious objectors, almost isolated in the shadow of the Sierra. This is not a gentle land. The temperatures range from 10 degrees in winter to 100 degrees in summer. But this is one of California's 7 Ecology Corps centers, where those who rejected war paid their dues. For some religious or philosophical reason, they could not accept killing, and instead of leaving the country, they ended up in the Corps for 24 months. Now there is talk of amnesty for those who did leave. For many in this country, that is a controversial issue. But with the COs we talked with here, there is little disagreement.
Well, I feel they have every right to come back to the country. I feel they've paid their price by leaving, and they did it on the same grounds that I did by staying, which is just a moral issue. They didn't believe in going in the Army or staying in the Army. They believed in getting out, and so they've made their choice, and I feel they paid their price. I think they should come back without any conditions whatsoever.
Richard Cantu says he learned a lot here. He is a minister and plans to return to Bible school. He favors conditional amnesty. Lee Maynard was packing today. He had put in more time than was required, and now he's going home. But he has reservations about conditional amnesty.
I think it's great that they're going to let the guys come back, you know, if that goes through. But I think it's also kind of a ripoff that guys like me, who felt it better to stick around, got it to 24 months, when somebody else has to do only 18.
Early in the program, nearly all of the 60 men here were COs, but now there are only a dozen left, and they have almost completed their time.
People are led wherever their conscience leads them. These guys that split, well, they've done some suffering. People think they've had it easy. Well, I know what it's like to be away from home, to be taken away from friends, so to speak. I'm fortunate that I don't have to be looking over my shoulder all the time for someone that's trailing me. These guys have had to live under these conditions for a number of years, and I think the price has been paid.
Though state officials say the Ecology Corps has been a success, the conscientious objectors aren't all that sure. They would have preferred a more meaningful mission. But as they reflect on the time they did put in and consider that possible amnesty might have changed their original course of action, most say they would make the same decision if faced with the same circumstances. Steve Mallory, KNBC News, at the Inyo Ecology Center, Bishop, California.
Still on the docket tonight, Ross Porter, the Dodger story. It's a wild one tonight. Kelly Lang with the weather for Southern California. She's a wild one tonight. And Jim Brown drops in on a star-studded rehearsal at Universal City. That's pretty wild, too.
My dog's better than your dog. My dog's better than yours. My dog's better, so he gets kennel ration. My dog's better than yours. My dog's bigger than your dog. My dog's smarter than yours. My dog's better, so he gets kennel ration. My dog's better than yours.
Kennel ration. It's like the best of meaty and dry dog foods, already mixed and ready to eat. And see this seal? Kennel ration is the only leading canned dog food government inspected for wholesomeness. This seal is on every can of Kennel ration. Is it on the dog food you're buying?
My dog's better than your dog. My dog's better than yours. My dog's better, so he gets kennel ration. My dog's better than yours.
Mom, can I borrow your bath oil?
Sure, it's right there.
Right where?
In the soap dish.
There's soap in the soap dish.
That's not soap, that's Caress.
So where's the bath oil?
In the Caress.
Caress is the body bar with bath oil. 101 light, delicate drops blended inside to soften your skin every time you lather.
How'd you like it?
I loved it.
Caress, the body bar with bath oil.
Mount Rushmore, where travelers tell us which credit card they prefer.
I carry the American Express card because I find it's the only one that I need.
We used American Express at a French department store and bought a crib for the baby.
The American Express card is like a backstop.
American Express card is probably the best you can have.
The amount of money the American Express card costs is just a drop in the bucket for what it's worth.
Call 800-528-8000 to apply for an American Express card.
An explosion demolished a building in Oxnard today, killing a gas company foreman, injuring 5 other people. A spokesman for Southern California Gas said that shortly before the explosion, a contractor phoned and asked them to check out a gas leak near the building. Harold Bangs was dispatched to the scene and upon arrival discovered that a gas main had been broken by the contractor. Bangs was peering into a store on the ground floor of the building when it blew up. It killed him. In upstairs apartments, 5 tenants were injured, 2 seriously. Windows were shattered for blocks around, and homes in the area had no gas service for quite a time. Nearby houses were badly shaken, and so were the occupants.
There was an implosion in our house. A large vacuum pulled everything out, and then a blast in the opposite direction. And my wife and I just praise the Lord that our faith in Jesus Christ allowed us to be away from the windows at the time of the explosion.
Now here with the weather for Southern California, let's hope it's bright and sunny, is Kelly Lang. Kel?
Bright and sunny, yes indeed, Paul, but smoggy as well. We had smog alerts today in downtown Los Angeles and out the San Gabriel Valley, and we expect more of the same tomorrow, adding the Pomona-Walnut Valley. So plenty smoggy tomorrow. Don't do anything too physical that you don't absolutely have to. Otherwise, patchy clouds along the coast. Rain showers. Showers out in the mountains and deserts tonight and tomorrow. Sunny everywhere else and hot. Today's high in Los Angeles was 91. Tomorrow, look out. It's supposed to get up to 92 in the city. Valleys will be blazing hot, nudging on 100 and smoggy tomorrow. East side cities, Riverside, San Bernardino ought to make it to 103, and you will get the worst of the smog out there. Don't even breathe the air. Beach people, this kind of weather is the reason you move there. It'll be sunny all day at the beaches, comfortably in the mid-70s, no smog at all, beautiful at the beaches. Mountains will have those off and on showers going on tonight through tomorrow, and it'll be up near 80 degrees at mountain towns. Deserts will boil your oil to about 100 in the Antelope Valley, 106 expected down around Palm Springs, with some now and then showers in the deserts too, some of them pretty heavy. On the other side of the country, there's a tropical storm churning up the ocean off Massachusetts' Nantucket Shoals. Hurricane Dolly blowing 60 miles an hour now, causing heavy rain out at sea, but not on land. It's just cloudy along the Atlantic coast right now. But she is kicking up some whopping waves. Gale warning flags are flying from Maine down to South Carolina tonight. On our side, it's cloudy up in the northwest corner, and we've got those off and on showers in our own Southern California mountains and deserts tonight. Some of them heavy, and a flash flood watch is out from the Mojave Desert all the way down to the lower Colorado River Valley, so be careful when you're driving out there tonight. Those showers will keep up through tomorrow in the mountains and deserts, and we will have patchy clouds along the coast, sunshine everywhere else, a fat dose of smog in the valleys, and hot as you know what all over. Stay cool. Paul?
Thank you, ma'am. I'll look now at a show that's designed to raise $2.5 million for the Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. It happens for real on September 27th. With a guy like Frank Sinatra in charge, who needs more? But Jim Brown says there was more today at a sneak preview.
It was not exactly a sellout crowd for the impromptu noon performance at the Universal City Amphitheater, perhaps because there was no show, merely a staging rehearsal. But it is questionable whether the one man sitting in the audience would have paid anyway. Gene Kelly was here. He's going to repeat his famous Singing in the Rain dance number for the Cedars-Sinai benefit, and was busy translating the perfection of the movie's make-believe to a live stage where there are no retakes.
Then you've got control of the sound and everything. Right. Because I could not, over the rain, could not, even if I didn't have sneakers on, could not be heard.
Meanwhile, one of the applicants for the orchestra was busy tuning up. He said he fully expects to be thrown out of the orchestra if discovered, but undaunted, will return later for a solo.
When I give a concert, I must play as well as I can. It isn't funny if I give a concert and I try to play badly. Now that's about as unfunny as anybody can be, is to take the violin and try to play badly. The only reason my concerts are funny is because I play heavy numbers, classical numbers, and I try to play them as well as I can, and I just can't quite make it, and that's what's funny. I'm going to play if they'll let me, I'm going to play the Mendelssohn Concerto.
Well, that's September 27th, then.
I know, and this is the 4th. It's going to take me that long to learn that. Leave me alone.
No, because you're the only musician that's getting paid, you see.
Who's getting paid?
You're the only one.
Honest to God?
Yes. Very good, Bishop. Bravo, bravo.
On the night of September 27th, Jack Benny will be back with his violin on the stage of the Universal City Amphitheater, trying to play, getting thrown off, making way for Frank Sinatra, Cary Grant, and others, all for the benefit of the Cedars-Sinai Medical Center Building Fund. Jim Brown, KNBC News at Universal City.
This is Chevron at Work. Charles Shell covering ongoing efforts to help meet your energy needs. Here, Chevron seismic crews work with Eskimos in sub-zero weather, trying to find new oil under the frozen Arctic.
Meanwhile, Chevron's increased exploration efforts have Earth scientists busy analyzing rock samples from wells drilled in the Gulf Coast region. Promising samples go to labs in California for further analysis.
Terry Carter here. It looks like a NASA launch site, but it's a Chevron refinery working day and night attempting to meet increased public needs. At the same time, they're increasing the capacity of this and other major Chevron refineries in the U.S.
Chevron at Work. Chevron people, searching, refining, delivering, combining their efforts to produce more energy with your efforts to save energy. Working together to accomplish more. That's the Chevron way.
Power steering, power brake.
Most car dealers give you a test drive, and that usually means a 10-minute spin around the block.
Let's take it back.
At Peugeot, we give you a 24-hour trial instead,
See you tomorrow.
because we believe it takes a little longer to decide if you really like a car. After 24 hours, we think you'll agree. The more you drive a Peugeot, the more you'll want to own one.
How'd you like it? Terrific.
You know what Ajax and Comet can do. Now here's what Pine Sol Cleanser can do. Like those other cleansers, first, Pine Sol bleaches out the toughest, greasiest stains in kitchens and bathrooms. Second, Pine Sol eliminates odors. But third, Pine Sol Cleanser leaves a fresh, pine scent. And that's more than Ajax and Comet can do.
And for the bathroom, get Pine Sol Foam Bathroom Cleaner. Foams away dirt and odors in seconds.
Time now for Ross Porter, the sports. We have all been eagerly awaiting your arrival tonight. The last we heard, the Dodgers were tied up.
They just pulled it out.
Did they win it?
Yeah, dramatic
Terrific
fashion.
Here's Ross.
Jim Wynn clouded a dramatic 3-run homer in the 11th inning out at Dodger Stadium a few minutes ago to help L.A. topple San Francisco 6-3. Wynn's 30th home run keeps the Dodgers 2.5 games in front of Cincinnati. The Reds had been held hitless earlier in the evening by Houston's Don Wilson for 8 innings and still prevailed 2-1. Joe Ferguson's 9th inning homer had knotted the game for the Dodgers. Gary Maddox of the Giants was safe on Bill Russell's 34th error of the campaign in the 3rd inning. After a sacrifice, Bobby Bonds singled off Jeff Zahn for his 60th RBI, and San Francisco led 1-0. Mike Caldwell of the Giants retired Wynn with the bases loaded in the 5th to preserve his lead, but in the 7th, Dave Lopes cracked a 2-out solo homer, his 8th, to pull the Dodgers even at that time 1-1.